Hi, in this lesson we're going to take another look at using rests in drum parts and percussion parts. After the last lesson, people said that they felt that some of the examples I used were a bit too complicated. So we're going to strip it back a bit, just something a bit more simple with a wee 4/4 riff. So let's have a wee listen to it. The drum part there was just your simple, ordinary rock beat. It's not a bad beat, but it doesn't really have any character. The rock beat's been used so much that it's just become like a glorified metronome, which you expect to hear in most 4/4 music. So we're going to have a look at how we can make a drum part a bit more fitted by using rests and other little elements of syncopation to create a bit more character. In this version of it, I had an extra kick drum on the 4th beat of the last bar. It's a simple addition, but this extra anacrusis helps to add a bit more motion into the next bar, into the repeat of the phrase. In this next version, I've syncopated some of the hi-hat parts. The main one you'll notice is on the 1st beat of the 1st bar. The hi-hat's been syncopated so it sits on the and of the beat, so the 2nd half of the beat. The kick drum's already there, so you don't need to have the hi-hats there with them. The kick drum is really providing the main beat. That's what you mainly expect to hear on a downbeat, on a beat 1. If you use something once, it can sound a bit accidental. It's often good to hark back to an idea later on in a bar or in following bars, just to make sure that it sounds intentional, that you intended for that to be there, and it helps to make that character more known. So I've syncopated other beats throughout the bar, as you'll be able to see in the score. In this next version I've missed out a couple of beats. These are on beat 2 and beat 4. Beat 2 and 4 aren't very important beats. They help to create the sense of tempo, but in terms of keeping the beat 1 and 3 are really where it's at. That's the beats which you need to support everything. They hold everything up. They show you where the beginning of the bar is, where the middle of the bar is, and then the next beginning shows you where the end was. So you have quite a lot of scope of what you can do with beats 2 and beat 4. You might not necessarily want to mess about with beat 2 and beat 4 in the same way in every bar, but in a couple of places throughout a phrase they can certainly help to add character. So here I've missed out a couple of little bits, and it helps to add a bit more space as well. In the other video on using rests in percussion parts, I talk about an idea which I call vacuous momentum, where silence or an absence of a specific sound which you expect to hear kind of pulls everything else forward. As your ear's expecting it to be there, it listens more intently, so it's kind of hurrying through to the next time it hears that. So that kind of works here as well. The rest helps to pull the following beat forward a bit, and pulls your ear into following the beat. In this final version, I've intentionally gone a bit overboard with missing things out and moving things around. I took out beat 1 in one of the bars and beat 3 in one of the others, and as I mentioned before, those are really important to creating the momentum and the structure of the bar, of the tempo and of the beat. So missing them out has really taken away a lot of the strength of the beat. But it's important to mess about with these sorts of things when you're writing and when you're practicing, so you know what will work. If you mess about with these ideas when you're writing, when you're practicing, it's not a big problem. You can always fix them. And if you do that work then, when it comes to improvising, you'll know then what will work, so you can put in interesting ideas without worrying whether they'll work or not. You've already tried them out in the practice room, or when you've been writing and recording, so you don't need to worry about it then. It's good to test the limits of what will work. You don't necessarily want to always play it safe. You can create a bit more character by making things feel like they're a bit more on edge, and that they might fall apart, but keeping them together, that gives them a bit more energy, can make them a bit more interesting to listen to. So play about with these ideas, check out the other video, and see how that helps you out. Post any comments or any suggestions you have below. If you've not already done so, please check out the free sample chapters of my book Playing Guitar Musically, A Guide to Creativity on Guitar and Bass. And you can check that out. You can check out free sample chapters on the Facebook page, www.facebook.com/playingmusically. And there are also links to buy the book if you're interested. I don't have any books on drumming. I'm not actually a drummer. I program drum parts for my own music, but I've never actually properly played drums. Hopefully this video will have been useful for people like that out there who program drums for their own things and might not have much idea of how to be creative and write drum parts which fit and have character as well, as say, rather than just being a glorified metronome. So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks.